cut his own throat. Boris's party takes the heat in opinion poll, at Knifepoint with Labour's lead. Boris Johnson's Conservatives have lost their lead in two opinion polls after a growing parliamentary standards scandal prompted almost two-thirds of respondents in one survey to say the British Prime Minister's party was disreputable. A survey carried out on Tuesday and Wednesday for the Times newspaper put the Conservatives level with the opposition Labour Party, while a poll on Thursday and Friday for the Daily Mail put Labour 6 points ahead. Johnson was forced earlier this week to say that the UK is not remotely a corrupt country after he led efforts to change parliamentary conflict of interest rules to protect a colleague threatened with suspension. Since then, members of Parliament have come under renewed scrutiny for external work they do, which in some cases could have breached the rules. The YouGov survey for The Times found that 60% of those asked agreed with the statement the Conservatives these days give the impression of being very sleazy and disreputable, up from 51% in April. Only 33% agreed with the same statement for Labour. The Savanta Comries poll for the Daily Mail said Labour now held a 6-point lead over the Conservatives, reversing a 3-point Conservative lead last week. While Johnson has declined to apologise for recent events, the Mail poll found that 60% of Conservative voters want an apology. The big question for the government is what these numbers mean. There's danger in each direction. If Thatcher and her colleagues had gone into a tailspin in 1981, they'd have been wasting a huge opportunity. On the other hand, when her ratings hit the same number in March 1990, it really was a banshee heralding the end. Identifying the right time to worry is vital. First, it's important to study closely what the cause of the issue is. Too often the explanation conveniently coincides with the individual's personal hobby horse, Brexit. Sleaze allegations. The appeal of Starmer despite the flaws of socialism. The appeal of socialism despite the flaws of Starmer. Insufficient pledges at COP26. Excessive pledges at COP26. Cutting through wishful thinking requires rational, disciplined and clear-eyed advisors, empowered from the top to deliver uncomfortable truths and to be listened to. Sunlight isn't the best disinfectant to combat sleaze, statutory watchdogs are. Second, those assessing the Conservative position must insist on consistency in the explanation. If it's the sheer effectiveness of the opposition which has inflicted this, and no fault of the administration, then everyone must up their game to defend against the serious threat posed by Labour. Alternatively, if it is the case that Starmer is nothing special, then that must mean that the polling problem arises in some large part from unforced errors on the part of the government. I tend to the latter view. As I wrote back in September, Starmer might not be kicking in the door of 10 Downing Street, but it's still in the government's gift to open it by accident. Last, the government must set the agenda, not be a mere bystander. As Bima Folami MP wrote on Conservative Home this week, the real complaint from the public is that they don't think that MPs and the government are doing their jobs effectively enough. Dare I say it, I think they are right. Blair, Cameron and Thatcher could all have concluded that their negative first-term polls were a certain forecast of the future, and given up. Instead, they took them to be a passing snapshot that could be changed by their own actions. The very best politicians know that they can make the weather. Boris Johnson's party will now be looking to him to do so.